If you're a brand that developed its image around a sport utility vehicle, how do you come out with something different? How do you reinvent yourself? Especially that now, everybody builds an SUV. So, here I am, driving a 700 horsepower SUV. It's called the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. Right off the bat, I mean, it's a standard Grand Cherokee. I mean, of course, I have red seat belts and a bit of carbon fiber trim here and there, but from where I'm sitting, it doesn't feel very different than a standard Grand Cherokee. All right, now it's time to see what 700 horsepower feels like in a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Listen to that thing! All right, now I'm not understanding what's going on because I'm driving a mid-size SUV that has as much horsepower as a supercar. That's the sound of a 6.2-liter Hemi engine with a supercharger. All right, so do you need a 700 horsepower Hemi-powered Jeep Grand Cherokee? Of course not. Nobody needs this thing. But do you want one? Yes, you do. I still remember when Dodge had unveiled the original Challenger Hellcat. I was at the New York Auto Show in my hotel room, and I was like, what? 700 horsepower? Is that even possible in a production car? But when Jeep said, hey, we're gonna come out with a Grand Cherokee with that engine, I remember thinking, well, it's game over. Now, obviously, a Grand Cherokee Trackhawk is not exactly cheap. I mean, this thing is well over $100,000, but it's still a lot more affordable than anything comparable from Europe. What you need to know is that even though this looks like a typical Grand Cherokee, there's nothing about it that's the same as a standard midsize SUV. By the way, I just want to talk about this green paint. It's a nice throwback to the original military Willys Jeep. Check out the brakes on this thing. These are enormous Brembo brakes. You got 295 tires in the front and the same out the rear. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is achieved in only 3.5 seconds. Not even 20 years ago, the McLaren F1, which was the fastest automobile in the world, would accomplish the 0 to 100 kilometer an hour time in approximately that, 3.5 seconds. Now you get it from an SUV that can carry your kids, your bicycle, and your groceries. I mean, look at the size of this trunk. That's how much the automotive industry has changed. You can buy a Jeep nowadays that's as fast as some supercars. Well, actually, you know what? I have supercars here. I have actually 2 of them. Let's go try it out. All right, so I have an AMG GTR on my left and I have an Aston Martin DB11 V8 on my right. As far as supercars go, it doesn't get much better than this. Let's see what's what. Okay, so I didn't exactly win that race, but you have to admit, it was pretty darn close. I was racing against a Mercedes AMG GTR and an Aston Martin DB11 in a goddamn Jeep. How cool is that? More importantly, it's a slap in the face to the European elite, vehicles like the Lamborghini Urus or the Porsche Cayenne Turbo. Sure, out here on the track it's rather clumsy and build quality is questionable, but it will haul 5 passengers, your grocery, your dog, and still do the quarter mile as fast as many sports cars on the market. Do we need a 700 horsepower Jeep? Of course we don't, and that's precisely why it kicks so much ass. What I find amazing though is that when you're done hooning it around, you just put it back in auto mode and it quiets down. It's so smooth, it's so quiet.